Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode. A lot going on. A lot going on today, and we have a very special guest coming on in hour two or earlier, because he told me to let him know when I'm said, "Listen, people want to come on during this because you were quite brilliant." So it could be 1 p.m. or it could be earlier. We're gonna have to find out. But Funding Jim is coming on today, so we're very, very excited about that. We also have a lot of news to talk about. We have obviously massive pump for HEX. May have 10 cents end of day. That's not even clickbait, by the way. And then Bitcoin is pumping over 25,000, I believe. We got the CPI came out at 6%. So that's down from last month at 6.4. We also have some HEX news, some more HEX virality, which is going to be exciting. We're going to talk about. And we have obviously the main thing, the thing that you guys are all here for, aside from Funding Jim, is the update from Richard Hart about Pulsechain V3 testnet. Going to be here very, very soon, a lot sooner than people maybe think. So awesome. Very excited for today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But we're going to take a look at the chat. What's up, Bet4? Bet4. Love you, man. Larry O. What's going on, Larry? And Bob Stutz. Thank you, Bob, for tuning in. Bob is a Patreon, so shout out to Bob. And Chad Donner Schwans, to Schwans of House Donners, enter the chat. Hit like and subscribe. I couldn't agree more. Crypto Military Vet is here. Again, thank you for your service, Crypto Military Vet. We love our veterans, and we very much appreciate what you've done for this country and what you're doing for the HEX community. So thank you, Crypto Military Vet. Love you, bro. And Hesychus, Saturnicus. All right. Yeah. No expectations. I want to give Furu a gift, a big clock. Yeah, for sure. Give it to me. I don't know if it's supposed to be a joke, but you could give me the clock at Hexpo Miami because I'm going to be there. Glad he spelled it correctly. Okay. What do you mean? Instead of saying cloak? And Mr. Chuck says, everyone that sacrificed for Pulse and PulseX are Genesis holders. Congrats. Don't spend it all in one place. Yeah, congrats. And maybe don't sell it too soon. And Davis, what's going on, Davis? Things are heating up nicely. I could not agree more with you, Davis. And Kev83, what's going on? Okay, let's get into the Bitcoin price chart. Bitcoin is looking very nice right now. Very strong. Bitcoin right now, 25,985. It wicked up to 26,000. Confirmed breakage above this resistance here at 24,908. Looking like we're really going to hit that 29,000 and maybe even go above it. And I said 27,000 back when we did like this pump. So it's looking like, as Sami says, the prophecy is playing out. So I guess the next level to look at is that 29,000 before a possible retrace, maybe back to the 24,000 or a break above. Because if we break above that trend line over there, we're looking at 39,400. And people are saying the bear market's over. I don't think the bear market's over, but I think the bottom's in. And during a bear market, you could go to 40,000. You could even go to 50,000 and then crash back to 29,000 or something. So I think that's good. I think we might not be looking at HEX in the single digit cents for much longer. That could still be a bear market. You could go to 20, 30 cents and then crash back down to 10 or 15. So I think I think the worst is behind us, unless unless maybe I don't even want to say, but hopefully not. But hopefully that's it for the bank runs. Yeah, and congratulations. It is Tuesday. We have gone 2 days so far with no new bank runs. That's absolutely incredible. So I think maybe we should wait for a confirmation before we get too excited, but it's looking like they have it under control. But it always looks like that in the beginning before things maybe get a little bit worse. So let's hope it stays like this. I see a lot of people on Twitter, and many of these people I like very much, and I'm very fond of, and very respectful of. But like they're like sort of making it like the bank run is good for crypto. It is not good for crypto. If let's say all the banks go under and we go into like a serious liquidity crisis where people can't get their money, that's not good for crypto. I don't know about you, but I think you guys plan on maybe taking profits sometime. And if there's no money to take your profits into, it's probably not good. And if you think that people are going to start using crypto instead of US dollars, I think you're making a big mistake to say the least. But that's just my humble opinion. So let's hope these bank runs end. Let's hope this gets solved, and maybe they could implement things so it doesn't happen again and hold some people accountable that should be held accountable. But this idea that people are getting their rocks off on banks having a liquidity crisis is very naive and not really so nice, to say the least. But against the people that are saying that, I just thought I'd put it out there that people should not be hoping for banks to just go under. Our money is in the bank. Even if you're in crypto, you rely on the bank, right? We're looking at Bitcoin against the US dollar because its US dollar price matters to us. So let's be normal. Let's be like realistic people. Like, you want HEX to go mainstream, you have to be serious. You have to be a serious person. And this idea that we could just be a bunch of clowns hoping for, a crazy crisis and hyperinflation is not so serious. But HEX, wow. Look at that. 8.8 cents. It almost hit 9 cents today. Pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. I bet you guys are wishing that you bought more HEX. I bet you guys just are saying to yourselves, if only I bought more when it was at 1.7, because now you have to buy it up at almost 5 times that, more than 5 times that. And I would say that I would include myself, even though I'm thankful for this dollar cost average strategy. It allowed me to buy at these lower prices. I wish I bought more. But I'm going to continue dollar cost average. And if I'm buying at 8 cents, if I'm buying at 9 cents, that's fine. That's fine. And if you've been dollar cost averaging and you regret that you didn't increase your DCA during those lower prices because you thought that it was going to go to like under a penny, you can't be upset at yourself, because if you would have had that mindset where when prices go lower, you're going to buy more, you're going to really back the truck up and spend a significant amount of your cash position on crypto, you probably would have burnt out of your money before it even hit that. You probably, if you were more of a buy the dip instead of a DCA person, let's go to the daily, right? And let's say you got in, let's say over here, or even over here. So it was going up. You didn't buy the dip. Let's say you got in like at 10 cents before the run up. So it went up and you didn't buy. Maybe you bought some on this dip. You bought some here. 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 When we had this massive lower low, you probably put in a ton. You're probably out of money over here. And you can't make those significant buys that go that much further at these prices, in the 1 to 3 cent range. But if you were just on a strict dollar cost average schedule, where you had a significant amount of cash, you got to get in on these excellent prices. And I'm very proud to say that I am one of the people that got in on these excellent prices. So if you got in on these prices, you should be feeling very good now. Wow, we're at 8.927 cents right now. The HEX price is pumping. It's pumping like crazy. And why is it pumping? It's pumping because obviously the Pulsechain, another Pulsechain V3 update from Richard Hart today, which is saying good news. No additional bugs. The Aragon issue was fixed. It looks like we could be looking at a V3 very, very soon, and for real this time. But like, look at this. Wow, price just ran away. And check your ladders, guys. See what you're doing. Obviously, we have the cup and handle, and we broke above this handle. So our target is 12 cents, right in line with Axis Alive. Axis Alive had the liquidity sandwich, having the heavy liquidity at 12 cents. It's looking like we're going to hit 12 cents, folks. So congratulations to everybody that bought the dip. I think you should be very, very, very happy. And I think only good things to come in the future, especially considering the Fed pivot. Wow. And just the broader crypto markets looking very green. HEX is up 9.6% on the day. Awesome. Let's check out what HEX is on the week. Wow. 32% on the week. The month, 84% on the month. HEX is one of the biggest gainers on the month. And it's down on the year, but that's fine. Everyone's down on the year. Who's not down on the year except for these random ones and AGI, which had the AI thing? But yeah, looking very good, guys. The future is bright. In my opinion, not financial advice. I continue to DCA. And then obviously we got the HEX daily stats. Let's refresh it just in case. For today's live data, the T-share payout is going to be 6.335 HEX per T-share, 625,100 in penalties. The liquidity, 51.7 million HEX, 7.4 million US dollars on the market. Awesome. And HEX is up 1,460. Well, it's up more. It's up about 1,600 from its lowest point. T-share rate keeps on ramping up. You love seeing that. You love seeing that. And the change in current holders, 169 change in current holders, and change in current miners, 119,563. So shout out to that. That's it for the HEX numbers. Just a reminder, everybody, please go follow me on Instagram. I only have 23 followers. Okay. I need some friends. 23 followers on Instagram. One awkward post, but I figured I might as well do it. I'm never going to do it. So just go click the link in the description, not in the description or in the chat. Just go click this link right now and go follow me on Instagram. And we're going to get into your chats. But just a reminder, if you are having any questions about crypto, navigating these markets, navigating the Pulsechain launch, understanding concepts and things like that, consider booking a one-on-one with me today at your own time, on your time, at a time that is best, most convenient for you. Links in the description, furufinance.com. Book a free one-on-one with me today. And if you want to know how I'm navigating these markets, and if you want access to my portfolio and my trades, and you want access to my Discord, DMs, discounts, benefits, and courses, all those kinds of things, weekly meetings, go click the link below and join the Patreon. But yeah, get in the Patreon ASAP. Help support me, help support my work, help support the show, help support the community. But that's that. Without further ado, let's go check out the chat, see what you guys are saying. Kev 83. Wow, yeah, pretending crypto is ready to take over the banking system, idiots. Yeah, agree. Thank you. Uh, guys, don't try and sound like a delusional Bitcoin maxi. That's what I'd say. Crypto is not there. It's not ready for prime time. And it would make a horrible currency because you want spending in an economy. You want people to spend. And if you're deflationary, if you go 10,000x in under 2 years, people aren't going to spend it. And it's volatile. Do you want your value in something that crashes 90%? No. Like, you need something stable. There could be a cryptocurrency that's programmed to be a good currency, like that implements privacy, that has maybe 1-2% inflation programmed into it. Although it's hard to make a trustless programmable 1 to 2% inflation. But listen, I mean, if there's something innovative that could really make a decentralized currency that works in the sense that it helps the economy. You know, it's not a that it has a price stability and maybe a small rate of inflation, then that could maybe replace the Fed. But what we're looking at with HEX, it's going to be a horrible currency. You do not want it as a currency. It will literally stagnate the economy. No one's going to spend. No one's going to want to hire workers. No one's going to want to go shopping. It's not a good currency. It's not. Cryptocurrency makes for a poor currency, and that's why it makes for a good investment. If it were a good currency and people would spend it all the time, it wouldn't go up 10,000x. Hexicus Saturnicus. Welcome to the show, Hexicus Saturnicus. Thanks for tuning in. I bought 11 times in the last 3 months. I can't allocate any more towards it, but I could have sold the kitchen sink. Yeah, you could have. Listen, guys, don't get that FOMO now and mortgage your house. If you were DCAing what you could afford, you should be very proud. And I think when you see how much it goes up in the future, I think you're going to be very happy. You know, I think you're going to be sitting high no matter what it is. There are always going to be people that got in more than you, and that's fine as long as we're all rich, right? In my opinion, not financial advice. What's your new price prediction for V3 launch, considering we could rip past 10 cents? It really depends a lot when it launches, but we could be looking at 15, 20 cents by V3. Definitely. It's definitely something we could be looking at. We're going to get into V3 this week, MK fan. We're going to get into that. Maybe we could even funding Jim's take on it. So, good question. Don't want to answer it yet. But guys, please hit the like button. Remember to do that. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Let's see. Bitcoin might hit 11K once all that money in BTC flows into HEX. No, I don't think that would make it, because it has to be dollars coming out of Bitcoin. You know, if people trade their Bitcoin for HEX, then I don't know if it's going to hurt the USD price that much. But maybe. I don't think it's hitting 11K, but I hear what you're saying. It's funny. Definitely think a lot of Bitcoin's going into HEX. Guys, yeah, just follow me on Instagram. Good afternoon, Canary Islands. What's up, Juan Gonzalez? Crypto military vet, just followed on IG. Salute to you. Appreciate the follow. I'm going to follow you back. All right. Yeah, everyone, just please follow me on Insta. It's good for me. It's good for you. Kev83. No offense, mate. What's your credentials for trading advice? None. No one has credentials for trading advice, in my opinion. So, Abraham Espinoza says, say I sack 10K for Pulse, but only 1K for PLSX. Should I try ratio swapping some Pulse for Pulse X before the bridge, or just sit on my hands? First of all, you should book a one-on-one. Link is in the description for free. But if you sacked, that's interesting. 10K, you sacked. Most people sack more for PLSX, but I mean, the question is knowing if it's a good ratio. I think if it's like a very blatantly obvious, discrepancy, maybe you could try and exploit that. So like, if let's say Pulse is trading like 20 to 1, if let's say Pulse X, what would be the ratio? You want Pulse X. So let's say you could get like 20 Pulse X for one PLS, or even like 10, then maybe consider doing some. I think the best thing to do would be to DCA HEX now, personally, and then swap that to try and balance out your portfolio. Interesting point, guys. A lot of people ask, like, do you guys think that PLS is going to drop below the sacrifice rate, or do you think it's going to be like you're going to be able to get in like close to the sacrifice rate, or are you going to be buying like a 5-10x higher? I don't think you're going to be buying a 5-10x higher. But what I do think is that, think about it. If you buy HEX now, let's say, and it doubles, right? So let's say it doubles between now and Pulsechain launch, and Pulse launches at a 2x from the sacrifice rate, then you're pretty much getting in at the sacrifice rate. That's something that no one's ever thought of, but it makes it's an interesting thing to consider, right? So like, and forget it, if you bought liquid HEX at like 2 cents and you're waiting for Pulsechain launch to buy Pulse with it, you're getting in at way below the sacrifice rate. So that's just something to consider also. So maybe consider doing some ratios trading. I definitely think it might be something to implement a small percentage too, but I definitely am in general not so pro it, but it all depends on you as well. Go book a one-on-one, links in the description. Chad is plans to be a net buyer and DCA into RH blue chips. All right. Okay, we're gonna get into the news. We're gonna get into the news. Obviously, a lot to cover right now. Go follow me on Instagram at Furu.finance. First up is from HEX, March 20th, 2023. HEX will be listed on one more exchange called Fu Hong Kong. So yeah, there's a centralized exchange listing. So that's some good news. It's not a big one, but listen, if the big ones don't list HEX, the small ones that list it are going to become the big ones, because that's where all the people are going to be putting their money. They're going to want to buy HEX, and they're going to be using smaller exchanges. So one, it's cool that it got on a centralized exchange, and two, I think it's might not be as big as people think, but things could unfold very positively from this. I think a lot of smaller centralized exchanges are really turning their attention to HEX, and I think that could give them a huge edge in the overall market trade volume, because HEX is where it's at, man. So shout out to that. Shout out to HEX. I liked and retweeted. You could go follow her at HEX. And then we got Ivan on Tech. And I said I might have to stop covering Ivan on Tech talking about HEX, because everyone knows he's in it for the HEX. But this was cool because he was calling out CoinGecko. He tagged them twice. Oh, he called out CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. So he tagged both of them for not listing HEX properly. And we all know that Ivan on Tech is one of the biggest influencers in the crypto space. Not even like close. He's got hundreds of thousands of subs on YouTube. He has ties to pretty much every big influencer, including Richard Hart. So him doing that, seeing Crypto Mason and Ivan on Tech tagging Binance, CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko for not listing HEX properly, that makes a huge difference. And if they don't change it, it really delegitimizes them as a coin raking site. That's what you have to really think of. Like, maybe they won't list HEX properly, but if they don't, in like this keeps happening where you have people like Mason and Ivan on Tech, calling them out on Twitter to 404,200 followers. Let's think about that. Compare that to CoinMarketCap has 5.0 million and 1.6 million for CoinGecko. So they're bigger, but I'm saying when you have multiple big influencers saying, "Hey, you're not doing what you say you're doing. You say you're a fair ranking site, but you're clearly not," and then they just ignore it and they don't do it, then people are going to stop using it because people are going to realize that it's not a legitimate site. So I think eventually the coin market cap is going to they're going to list it properly as they should be doing. So shout out to that. Shout out to Ivan on Tech. We love Ivan on Tech. He's quickly becoming my favorite mainstream influencer. But that's that. And then we got Meet Kevin, another influencer. This was actually interesting because Meet Kevin he's bigger than any single crypto influencer. He's got, I think, how many subs does he have on YouTube? Does he have over 2 million? I believe he does. And I saw him streaming the other day and he was getting like 7,000 concurrent viewers. So he's huge. All my friends heard of him. So him actually talking about Hex, like a thread about it, and then tagging it, that's huge. And look at what he said. Because first of all, shout out to whoever put the Hex sticker there. I was a bigger fan of the TikToks than the Hex stickers. But guess what? If the Hex stickers get on Meet Kevin's thread and Newsmax, then that's already like making a serious difference. And it's not like they weren't making a serious difference in the first place. They were, but I wanted the Hex stickers on TikTok. But yeah, so great job, whoever did this. Maybe it was Meet Kevin himself. I actually speculated that jokingly, but he said, "I'm in Silicon Valley, outside the main bank for corporate accounts for Silicon Valley Bank. No panic here or at FRC next door." What's FRC? Um, the bailout is working to minimize contagion based on the lack of panic or fear here. Obviously, just an anecdote. Take it for what it's worth. Hex sticker on sign. So yeah, he could. First of all, yeah, he could have taken down the sticker, but he didn't. So is he trying to tell us something? And then he played it and he said there's a hex sticker on the sign. I don't want to have to reshare my tab, but he played it. He posted a 9-second video saying there's a hex sticker. And then he said, "I got Hex on Newsmax," apparently, which is crazy. So he's pretty crazy about Hex. If he doesn't hold it already, because I know he had Richard Hart on, but that's like some big news. I think, yeah, Hex is already big and it's getting a lot of legitimacy. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys getting in his threads, making the TikToks, doing the work that's important. So shout out to Meet Kevin. And another thing is a lot of people I see are being very not nice to him. He doesn't deserve such bad treatment, in my opinion. I think he's been nicer than most. Just the idea that he was willing to have Richard Hart on, I think that's big. That was when he was like controversial at the time. No crypto influencers were touching him, and he went out there and had him on for like an hour and a half. So that's huge. So he wasn't that bad. I know he shilled FTX, but everyone did. Everyone did. Like all the you guys want to talk about Ivan on Tech, he was probably on those things. Rand Nooner, I don't know if they were like in that thing particular, but they were all doing the referrals. So I mean, if we're just gonna never get past that, then you're not going to get any mainstream influencers covering it. But he's been overall good, and his interview with Richard Hart was pretty solid. I don't think he was hostile. I don't like that people were saying he's hostile. He wasn't. He was very fair. He was very fair coming from a normie person just trying to learn more. And shout out to Meet Kevin. You go give him a follow at Real Meet Kevin. So shout out to that. We got 105 people watching. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the show. Next thing we're going to talk about is the CPI. But first, let's take a look at the chat, see what you guys are saying. Hex Hero says, "Make me a mod." Hex Hero wants to be a mod. Who do you think you are, Hex Hero? Oh, I'm kidding. I love Hex Hero, and because you said that, I'm gonna make you a mod. We appreciate Hex Hero, but that means I have to go open the stream on YouTube. Let me- Hex Hero. Oh, it's not letting me. You are now a mod, Hex Hero. Shout out to you, Hex Hero. I know you like K for K better though, but that's okay because I like him better too. Um, or no Miami. Yeah, me and Hex Hero are going to Miami. When are we expecting Pulsechain launch? We're gonna get into all that. CSC Furu working on becoming the GOAT. Excellent content. Thanks a million. Oh, thank you so much. I don't think I could become the GOAT, but definitely working for you guys. Definitely trying to make this thing happen, right? Making Hex happen, and I'm proud to say that it is really happening. So, and it is really. I think we're starting to see the adoption pick up. So, if you enjoy my stuff, guys, this is my full time job, and actually just ran out of my unemployment benefits are over. So, I got to be doing this full time, or I got to get another job. And actually, a proof of like how deep we are in the bear market. Someone comes up to me, he's like, "You should get out of that stuff. It's thin air. You're a smart kid. Go to law school. Go take the LSATs." I'm like, "Nah, you don't understand. You old people, you don't get it." But yeah, if you guys appreciate the work, consider joining the Patreon. It really helps me a lot. So, but thank you for the nice works, nice words, and Abit Hex is in the house. What's going on, Abit Hex? Abit Hex says, "What's up, Hexkins?" Abit Hex, did you guys see my interview with Abit Hex? It's awesome. And then I clipped it, and we've been getting a lot of views. A lot of people are saying very nice things about my interview with Abit Hex. So thank you, Abit Hex. Are you guys subscribed to Abit underscore Hex? Well, you guys should be subscribed to Abit underscore Hex because Abit Hex is doing a lot of work for you guys with no expectation of profit from the work of others, but he's doing a lot of work. So go make sure you subscribe to Abit underscore Hex. We have 121 people watching. You guys should go click Abit Hex or search Abit underscore Hex and go subscribe to this channel because you don't want to miss what Abit Hex has to say. Abit Hex does amazing work. Abit Hex is super talented. Go subscribe to Abit Hex. Abit Hex, the first time he was in my chat, I'm like, "You want to come on?" And he just like comes on like 2 days later. And it really helped me out. And he really made for some great content, some great shorts. The shorts that he made went viral. So go subscribe to Abit underscore Hex and go follow him on TikTok and Twitter. Uh, and stickers work. Well, there's no doubt about that at this point. Let me say that. Let me just say that. Hex Hero, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Um, Props. Thanks for the mod status. Don't listen to the normies. They have no idea what's coming. 100%. They have no idea what's coming. No idea. Thank you for the generous donation, Hex Hero. Record for saying David Hex within 1 minute. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you invested the money that it takes to go to law school, invested in Hex, Pulse, and PulseX, you will make exponentially more with less effort than you would as a lawyer. I would agree. And thanks, bro. And guess what? Guess who is here in the green room? No other than Mr. Funding Jim. Such an honor to have him on. As always, Funding Jim, how are you? Can you hear me?
I hear you fine. Just won't give me 1
I
second.
think the mic's off. I think unless maybe it's my mic, I couldn't hear.
Can you hear me?
Audio.
Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. I see my sound moving fine.
Okay. Wait, I can't hear you. Is it my fault or your fault? It's my fault? Oh, I didn't plug in the headphones. I'm such a moron. All right, there we go.
Now can you hear me?
I could hear you.
All right, hang on just 1 second. I'll be right back. Continue for like 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
All right, so he's going to be right back. Just to say, Funding Jim is on the show. He actually reached out to me. He found a way to further get the message out, to increase outreach by engaging with big influencers in finance, which is interesting. And what I like about it is that what he was doing was he was recording the Twitter spaces and putting them on YouTube. And he saw that he got 3,500 views on them. So that is very good. I think in order to be successful on social media, you need to go with what works. Don't mess with success. So shout out to that. We're gonna see if we could cover some of the news with Funding Jim, or we'll go straight to the topic. But I'm very excited to have Funding Jim on the show.
I'm back.
How you doing?
Yeah, things are great. Content that we made yesterday was kind of talking about the same thing as my experiments have been going. We have a cultural normal, which is speak truth to power. Don't let anything slide. Someone in the crypto space or Twitter space said something that hurt my feels, hurt my bag, hurt the narrative about DeFi or HEX or Richard or something like that, right? That's our cultural norm. And, it's a delicate line to walk, to say that do you want to be right, or do you want your message to get to the audience on the other side of a gate? So, we have a lawsuit that is against CoinMarketCap, and it's going through all of its process for well over a year now. We have outrage that CoinMarketCap has us as a certain position. Data is available on Etherscan. Other ranking sites, pick and choose what is displayed as far as ranking, and basically advertising what HEX is or where it locates in the ROI and things like that, right? So we have a lot of that. And then our outrage is shown all over Twitter and all over social media outlets like YouTube. And we've fought that way for 3+ years. And I've been in that fray as well. And sometimes it works very well because you get the praise of your community. It says, man, you really stuck it to that guy. Like, you held them accountable. BitBoy can't get away with that. Commentator XYZ that has an audience of a couple 100,000 people buying their trading course, or buying their, shill of a, very small product that may or may not be very much integrity, right? So we have the outrage and the moral high ground that we like to claim. And I do it still. Like I still, when I see Simon Dixon making content, sometimes I'm like, man, this guy, 10 years, 12 years talking about cypherpunk and, counter banking, coming from a trading and a banking background and entering the crypto space as he did. I'm sure he had hesitations and reservations and commentary 11 or 12 years ago before he wrote his book about the positive elements of Bitcoin. I'm sure that he had scrutiny and scorn because it wasn't the status quo. I'm sure of it, right? I doubt that anybody comes into a new religiosity with absolute open mind saying, please write on my forehead your message, right? So there's resistance, and I'm sure that he went through it too. And along the way, some of the people that have become known and have audience and do talk, the 10 commandments of crypto and get the praise for the good fight, I think that also they fall, right? And I think that I will fall in the future and you will fall in the future, off of the absolute truth, whatever the truth is, because we are all biased. We all have some frame that we're living our reality. And I think these guys too. Now, we throw it in their face very often, and they should recognize that, you have a Lindy effect of 3 years of HEX performance without code break, without hack from every potential threat. Ooh, that was really, really beaten up.
Oh, sorry. Just close the window.
It's all right. But we have this, 3 years. What I was getting at was that we have people migrate, and they go from one message to a middle message that happens to be most popular at the moment to a future messaging that they probably will deliver. And all of us love that Ivan on Tech now is making content almost daily about not just Pulsechain and building on Pulsechain and Morales, and look at the accuracy of his platform when it comes to data of engagement and things like that with a particular crypto culture that we represent. Like, we love that, right? And I was there 3 years ago when we hated that guy. when our messaging was full of vitriol and scorn and everything, right? So that's kind of what my thing is now. So yesterday I streamed. I spent 5 hours live engagement, not just sitting it, aside for 5 hours playing in the background, but actively going through when someone made content commentary on the Twitter space, then highlighting their profile, making sure that anybody that sees that future clip or that future content can utilize it. They could make their own, content, and as far as a link, and they could link it inside of Twitter, and they can choose kind of one of two paths, one of three paths, I guess, as far as what I think is important. One path is they can say, here's the clip that Gary put his time into creating because I'm actively watching the Twitter space and their content. And you can benefit from creating your own Twitter link, your own hashtag with their account, your own, signaling it to them so that they make sure they see your clip that you make from the YouTube stuff that I've streamed. And you can choose violence. You can say, you're an idiot. That's so stupid. You're talking about finance or banking, and that's horribly corrupt. Stock market is terrible. Anything except for HEX and the religion that I represent is awful.
We're not supposed to say that word.
Well, that's what it is. It's religiosity, whether you call it a religion or not. Finance is religiosity. These are beliefs. So all I'm saying is you can choose violence. And the first few times, if I don't see it, then I'm sure it'll just be my content that I've streamed and I've put the time into, and then you're repurposing for your message to get through to that guy and show a chink in his armor and basically get your shot in, right? And then soon after that, I'm likely to block you. And I'm likely to say that I don't think that that's useful martial arts in this game of influence. So you could choose that. You could also choose to just repost. Just make the link of the little sound bite snippet, whether it's positive or negative, about, that they say, because history will prove out 6 months from now, a year from now, some of these guys will be very accurate on what their predictions are about the macroeconomic situations, about the performance of crypto, or the performance of Bitcoin. If they're a Bitcoin maxing, it's spread all over their Twitter handle. You're gonna see some of those things prove out, and it's going to prove out that they were right and they want praise because they called it, or they were wrong and they want to hide it. So they won't promote the fact that they were on Mario's Twitter space and said something different, 6 months ago, right? They won't promote that. So I want to have archival, and I want to have use, and I want to multi-purpose and be efficient with our messaging in general. And so you can choose violence and probably get gatekept by them, and probably never, get blocked by them, and probably their audience won't learn your messaging in the future. It won't get through. Or you could choose apathy, just repost, go through the work of building your own Twitter account, using my content, highlighting their hashtag, highlighting their quotation of what they said, and just let it be. That's the middle approach, which is just kind of not a decision on your side as an enthusiast. Or you could learn a little bit of politics, a little bit of diplomacy, and look at the diplomatic role, which is holding your ground on what you care about as far as crypto, the narrative as far as immutable, no admin key, Richard Hart was right, has been right, those kinds of things. You can highlight those things. And I just wouldn't hashtag it all over the place, because people will be polarized by the presenter or the messenger instead of the message. So I think that it's important that we learn better marketing. And better marketing to me is Patrick Bet-David has a conversation with Mario yesterday about banking and, moral hazard and, decision by politics and politicians, right? And he has an audience. Mario has an audience that when Richard was cresting 200,000, Mario was cresting 200,000. Now Mario is 410,000. Richard is 300,000. Mario spends hundreds of hours a week making a platform available that Peter Schiff comes on, people don't like, they like, whatever. Elon Musk comes on, calls Mario by first name, right? And some of the trolling that I see inside of the messaging from, Hexicans and things like that have at least a Hex logo, say, Mario has shielded terrible things in the past. He's just in it for clout chasing. Okay, great. And when's your last conversation with any of these other guys you may hold up in high regard? When was that? Right? You might be right. You might be right that Mario has some negative impact on the narrative of cryptocurrency. And yet you're not influential. He is. Don't you want to get to his audience? Right? So I'm trying to walk that political thing between, I'm a Hexican, I believe in Richard Hart, I believe in Pulsechain, Pulsechain. I believe that those things have merit in the crypto space of speculation. I think that they're fair games as far as people can enter fairly and exit fairly, and you can get penalized for trying to game the protocols, right, so to speak. So I care about those things. And yet Mario follows me, Richard follows me, other people follow my account because I'm trying to walk the politics line, and I think that it's great that we have such passion in this HEX thing, this Hexican movement. To me, I think it's great. I want people like Johnny to have better and bigger audiences, even though he hates to be popular. I want people like Matt from Texan Token to get his audience and engage politically like him and Brandon do with their product, right? Their platforms. And I think that learning the way of holding your ground, your words have meaning. You don't have to use a lot of them. They can have weight. Building influence, synergy is better path for 2023, right? Into 24 and 25, because the bull is coming. Today, Bitcoin hit 26,000 just on CPI. Just within minutes of CPI. CPI released at basically expectation, 6%, right? So some of these things were just pent up energy, pent up interest, retail purchase, speculation on narrative. And we can be better in our messaging to outperform the marketing of only Bitcoin in the crypto space. Bitcoin and then everything else is crypto is bullshit. That's not true. They're all social consensus. They're all belief systems. They just happen to have different protocols on how they perform, different ways that they perform their security model. So anyway, that was my rant about like why I wanted to come on the stream today. And then what I've been doing, like, all this morning was like another 4-hour session of their content, and they just finished. And when there's other finance channels, finance popular channels, then I'll stream. And I love engaging when I can, as far as the chat stuff. But I'm trying to also highlight the profiles of people that I hold in high regard, especially inside of the HEX community. So making sure that your Twitter is presentable and it doesn't have a lot of things that are, third rail kind of content, homophobia and things like that. I'm going to skip your channel or block you altogether so I don't accidentally stroll across your content. So it's people that I hold in regard, that I, like yourself, that I see person to person. I see facial expression, and I'm trying to sort that out. I see your active engagement with teaching people TikTok and shorts and reels and some of the things that are available to us. Even if you're not a content creator, you can help. Like, you can help the message get through to others.
So there's a lot of things that you're saying, and let's kind of just break it down so people really understand. So what you want to do, practically speaking, let's forget about the ideals for a second, is you have been recording these massive Twitter spaces with Mario Naufel and Kim.com, and often many other big names in these finance sector. And you've been doing that. And first of all, you notice that a lot of people are watching it, right? So you're taking the feedback, you're getting over 3,500 in one day, right? And this is obviously not even, probably most of them aren't even, people that are into HEX, or, at least half of them. So that was very effective. Now you want it clipped, and you want it shared on Twitter, tagging these people. So they retweet, they like, they engage with it. It's good for your Twitter account, but it's also good for the ecosystem, right? So is that correct? That's what you want to start seeing. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, and again, if someone says, because there's a lot of whales inside of HEX that I don't think have ever streamed, made content, don't have an Instagram, didn't have a Twitter. They don't, like even Godwell didn't have a Twitter for 2 years, right? And 2 years into HEX existing, someone was trying to impersonate his donation to the film. And when they were trying to impersonate by creating a Twitter that said that they, were taking credit for that $500,000 donation to the film, they, Godwell said, "Hey, wait a minute, like this, I need to show a little bit of, connection here," even though it in some ways made him more vulnerable, right? So like, there's a lot of people like that inside of crypto space, inside of finance, right? And it's been a lot of joy out of being a public figure. You have a public figure. I have a public figure, right? And your heavy lifting of creating this content It goes with like social reward because you're praised and you just have social validation and feels out of like, being relatively popular in a niche, right? And then some people will monetize that, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with monetizing a Patreon or, consultations and things like that. I don't see that as a negative. If the content is specialized or niched, or you're doing the research to present factual information to an audience, then they're paying for convenience. It's probably better to go to Costco and buy food in bulk, but people are going to do things in convenience and pay a premium for it. So I'm fine with all those kinds of narratives myself personally. And a lot of this Twitter content stuff, especially the growth in influence and impact. Why do you know Peter Schiff's name? Because he made it his opinions known for decades. Why do you know Patrick Bet-David? Why do you know Elon Musk? Why isn't he just a dark horse, anonymous owner of a mega corporation? It's because he is trying to be influential, right? And a lot of these guys, there's 12 people in the room. All of them have 100,000 to 500,000 follower kind of groups. I think Rand is like 700,000. Whenever he does his news updates from South Africa, it's got good engagement. It obviously gets the attention of Richard enough to where he'll stream with Rand, right? And even though Richard may have a position that, Rand advertises things that do harm his audience on occasion, if not often, Richard still sees the benefit of getting to that guy's audience. He sees the benefit, right? He engaged with Peter Schiff. Do you think that Hexicans were going to be influenced to buy gold? Probably not. Do you think that his audience of gold bugs might learn something through engaging with Richard or Hexicans? Probably, right? So it's the diode question, right? And so when I see people make comment on Twitter on a thread that I'm praising Mario's, effort, whether it's ROI or not on his part as a brand, building his platform, right? His consultation, his promotion skills and marketing or whatever it is, or his, promotion of an ICO that gets people wrecked, whatever it is. Like, I see the benefit of getting to the audience that has 13,000 live people watching, 20,000 people live watching, right? I'm not going to engage in all the politics stuff of the Twitter files, but if it has a big enough audience, especially if it's niched down to be finance, investor, people trying to promote a narrative, then I want to be in there recording, and I want the benefit to go to HEX messengers, people that understand what the protocol is. Yes, it's like I had somebody that's a good friend of mine messaged me yesterday, text me yesterday. It's like, man, why is it so hard to figure out how to unstake my HEX? Like, someone walked them through it a year ago, and they're like, why is it so hard? So it's not hard. We're engaged all the time, but here's who I can point to. This is probably going to lead you straight. And I point them to Popper Boner or a lot of the other people that go through the processes, kind of those tasks of security and things like that, So
Yeah.
that's the point.
Yeah, a lot of good points, and it's actually interesting because I brought this up earlier. We had Meet Kevin, and people think it's big when like Ivan talks about it, but Meet Kevin is not just a crypto person. He is known throughout like the world. Like, he's known by my friends who have nothing to do with crypto. He has over 2 million subs. He gets over 7,000 concurrent viewers on YouTube, which is insane. So he tweeted about the HEX sticker. He posted the HEX sticker. Then he posted a video of him talking about the HEX sticker. And then he posted that he got the HEX on Newsmax. And I do want to sort of put into perspective what you said, because there were a lot of people in the threads who are like, oh, you showed FTX and you did this and you did that. And what's wrong with you? It's like, yeah, if you want to go down there, then like, we're not talking to anyone ever, because that's just what they do. But there are different levels, right? Like, so you have like Meet Kevin was willing to have Richard Hart on, and he didn't have to do that. when he was very controversial. It was at the peak of the outrage marketing, which you could say if it was better or worse, whatever. He was willing just to have him on and not say Hex was a scam. And I think he was very fair, by the way. People were saying he was mean to him in his interview. That's not true at all. It was a very fair interview. He was very nice. And just him having him on and not saying you're a scam or it's a scam and being hostile in the way that a Tone Vase is already legitimizes him so much to the mainstream and does more than perhaps anybody even in this community can do. So I completely agree with what you said. What's your take on the Meet Kevin thing?
Some people know, some people don't. The reason that Meet Kevin had the stream with Richard was because of my efforts. So I had been DMing him for a while inside of Instagram and talking about HEX, and we had a thread going back and forth, and he was asking me, questions about how it functions and things like that in Instagram DM. Back when he was going to run for governor, like before he was going to run for governor of California, right? Before he turned his hair pink, right? So, so that thread took probably about a year to come to fruition. And if anywhere along the line I had, berated him for his ignorance or not paying attention, or I should have told you, or told you so, or any of those kinds of things, then I don't think that the conversation with Richard would have happened. And then when the thread happened, it was because he was obviously seeking audience. And I think it was immediately after the governor thing, because when he was running for governor and getting his political machine running and things like that, it kept getting stalled off. Like it was planned to have a stream with Richard before that. And then his political life is what became important. After the political decision-making had happened, then his pivot was to go back to his content and include cryptocurrency. And engaging Richard seemed probably like a good opportunity for him at that time. So then the stream happens, and people, like Kurkowski and RG3 and things like that know, the role to get that to happen. They praised it, because look, we're getting audience. We're getting through on the other side of this finance influencer, right? Graham Steph is next, and Andre Jick is next, and all these other kind of guys that were making a lot of content about it. And then, Kevin does what he does. He makes it, a selling point that he's more knowledgeable about the protocol or the founder or the community than we are, right? And he takes that other side of the road on the position of Richard Hart or HEX or whatever. And to a degree, I can say, okay, this didn't go so well. And then we made all kinds of posts and memes trolling Kevin in every stream that he made.
He said he doesn't like HEX after Richard Hart came on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Did he say it was a scam, or he said he just doesn't think it's legit?
Oh, there's all kinds of threads, and it was and again, it's kind of like sometimes it's not whether you're right or wrong. It's just whether you're pushed. Like if I'm pushed, I'm still going to fight. Like I'm going to fight no matter what. I'm not defending Kevin. I am saying that like our human emotion takes over, and it's like, I'm going to get that guy, or he's like, I'm going to get the Hexicans, or lump them all together, right? Like even BitBoy lumping me and trolling me or something recently. That's the same sort of thing. Like he just gets a stereotype in your head about what is this personality type because they have a logo in their profile picture, right? Yeah. So it's just that assignment. And anyway, so this is an opportunity for synergy. I'm not saying that you should sign up for his course or learn everything about real estate from him or anything like that. But I'm saying he obviously has audience. And if you care most about winning a battle or a war of influence, the general isn't the priority. The people that the general impacts or influences is the priority. That's the difference, right? So I don't know. Same thing with Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff happened because conversations with me, another guy that was the host. He was the Australian host. Arranged for the Peter Schiff thing. And then that was arranged to have the stream with Richard, and it was good timing. I thought it was really good timing because the documentary was still being filmed. And then it was, like I had to reach out to Kurkowski and all the other producers for the film to see if we could get Patrick and the director to go to film this debate between Richard and Peter Schiff, right? Then Peter Schiff didn't want to have culpability in case it went off the rails on his brand or influence and impact. So he wanted to back out, right? So I'm just saying there's a political dance behind the scenes to get any of this content out there in the public realm. And it's the same thing with the Twitter spaces. Like, if you can get to be a speaker, terrific. But if you're not a speaker and you're a listener in those rooms and your Twitter profile looks professional and engaging and, finance and crypto and, passionate and all those things like that, then it's easier for me to highlight and edify your content to build your audience than it is to build mine. It's always better that you find other people that you can promote instead of promote yourself. There's a human psychology about edification. I value you because X, Y, Z. This is the niche that you speak to well that I don't. It's always easier for me to promote someone else. That's why Richard's got audience as well. Richard has 300,000 people following him on Twitter. Why? Because we have edified him. He wouldn't have the reach without our edification, right? Now he's got some momentum and he's got maybe algorithm helping him as well. But that's my point. My point is, if you can find the good thing and highlight the good thing and then chastise the bad thing more in private, then it's more likely you're going to sway that person to your side of any decision-making than less likely. It's more likely instead of less likely. So just leadership stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that. And let me just say, there are some people in here that are not too happy about the title of Meet Kevin's video with Richard Hart, confronting the founder of HEX coin. Is it a scam? That's totally acceptable. First of all, for a Peter Schiff interview, he also wrote confronting. That's just his thing. He writes confront. Okay, it doesn't mean confronting. And you could tell from the interview that he wasn't being confrontational and hostile. He wasn't. That's just how he writes it. And everybody's wondering if it's a scam, especially at that time. That's what people wanted to know. So as a artist, as a content creator, that is the right title to pick, because that is what the demographic that he's catering to is curious about. So it was totally acceptable. Yeah. Was he interviewing him the way I would interview him? Obviously, myself or Gary would be a lot more amicable, but that's because we're coming from that ecosystem. So if you guys are if everyone's, and this is nothing against you, AC Tro 369, because you're a legend, but if you guys are just gonna hold it against them for the rest of their life that they did what every other influencer does, then it's not gonna be positive. I'll say that. Be a little bit empathetic, to their situation. They're not coming from where you're coming from. And I think the fact that they're willing to legitimize Richard Hart, when they don't have to, because they're really successful people that have already built a brand that will do well regardless. The fact that they're like, hey, I want to have him on, I want to hear what he has to say. That means a lot. It means a lot more for them to do that and kind of stick their neck out for the audience than it means for me to have Richard Hart on, because there's no risk in that. I've built up and gotten to where I got to, promoting HEX. So obviously my audience is going to love it, and there's no risk there. But for someone who got there through real estate and through maybe crypto like Bitcoin and Ethereum, whose communities are hostile towards HEX, having Richard Hart on it means a lot, and you should appreciate that. And I appreciate it. And Mr. Funding Jim appreciates it. So you guys should appreciate it. That's the right approach to have, in my opinion. But I guess, what do you think about what I just said?
A couple of things. One is, if you can do a search for HEX and filter by view count, how many views has it had? Kevin's 257,000 of a 2-hour interview, right? if you look at any of the HEX maximalists and position people that make content all the time about HEX, it's nowhere close.
Where do you filter? Oh, filter.
So if you go to YouTube itself, go to YouTube, the platform, youtube.com.
So I'm not up with this tech.
You're not with the times.
Not with the times anymore.
Search, put HEX. You're going to come up with the word HEX, which is a music band a lot. And then on the filter above the picture, you can sort it by view count on the far right. Sort by view count. Look, the Island Boys. That's Maddie Allen's effort, right?
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, so those are shorts, which are much faster to get to your point about other things, right? So you could sort. Why don't you sort through? No, what are you doing, dude? Where are you going? So first,
no, because it didn't.
Wait. So on the duration, which is the middle filter. Wait.
All right.
Take out the crypto word.
Because it wasn't showing anything crypto. It was just showing that.
So wait. Don't move too fast.
You count.
In the middle column, it says duration.
Oh, there you go. See, HEX crypto went straight there. You see that?
Right.
Okay, we'll do just HEX.
Okay.
Filter.
Search.
You count.
Yeah, but okay. So you should have. I wish I could drive your computer right now. So there's a little magnifying glass beside the word HEX. After you've hit HEX, only hit the magnifying glass to the right. So it's only searching for that because it was still looking at HEX crypto. In the middle column, under filters, in the middle column, make it above 4%, 4 minutes. So, over 20 minutes is fine. And then again, on the filters, make it by view count. View count over 20 minutes. All right. So first is that guy binary from 5 years ago. What's it show his view count? 1.6 million or something views?
5.4 million.
All right. So obviously that's not our topic. You can slide down further, and it's not going to teach hexadecimal. But next one is a song. Next one, because that's the HEX 80 burp one. All I'm getting at, I mean, you can look at this later, but basically what I'm getting at is what is the impact? The impact is we can have 100 streamers making content, putting it up on live instead of making dedicated videos. Another thing that we do is we always do live videos, like even today. So the sort is different instead of making an actual dedicated video the way that Crypto Coffee does. So probably it would be even better, like I think you are doing this, that you do a live stream and then you can repurpose your live stream to make 8-minute long videos of whoever you were interviewing that was interesting, right? That's actually amazing because you're more efficient. You did the live grab, you grabbed the 7 or 8 minutes that was you talking with Johnny or RH Max or whatever to Access Live or something like that. And then you're making that segment, properly titled, properly hashtagged in the description, making it easier for the algorithm to promote because it gets popular. You're doing better, efficient things with your streams, right? So that's awesome. And there's another comment. I did see somebody inside your thing that said right after that interview, the price of HEX went from 30 cents down. That was 1 year ago. And what else was happening at the same time? Like, was it Meet Kevin that killed the HEX price? No, it was not. It was one, the overall market. Also, everybody waiting for Pulsechain. Everybody waiting for Pulsechain for 1.5 years, right? We've been waiting a long time. Even the before Pulsechain sacrifice narrative about like an L1 to have lower transaction costs, the resistance was people complaining about $100 in-stake fees on a $50 HEX stake, right? So like all these things I think had to happen, needed to happen. Now we're about to launch with a vertical aligned ecosystem, which is amazing. We could have gone L2. We could have gone, hey, we're just going to drop the system state on something else that has almost nobody over there. And then we can transact for very, very cheap. And we can continue to build our grassroots movement of, HEX on HEX returns, all those things like that. There's all kinds of things that could have happened. But that doesn't mean that that would have been the best outcome, because look at where we are now. Like we're in a position, a pre-positioning that is amazing. Like Richard's in his pivot mode, in his preparation for market mode. We can do the same. Richard has rotated his messaging. We can do better in our messaging, right? Because I promote the stock market guy or Mario or other people that come onto the channel that have trader all over their profile because they're traders, right? Doesn't mean that I don't believe in the protocol of HEX and the delayed gratification narrative that I've been part of for years as well, right? This is to me synergy. And it's because I want to reach their audience. Like I care to promote enough to promote them along with us to reach their audience, so their audience can be an intelligent decision maker about what they do with their finance.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. And let me just give a shout out. We have some celebrities in the chat. We have to say how this is like, when they watch the basketball game and they pan out to the celebrities courtside. So we got to give a shout out to our celebrities. Brizology. Shout out to Brizology. He's in the chat. And Abit Hex. Again, shout out to Abit Hex. If you want to get unblocked, by the way, maybe hit up Havid Hex because she's pretty close with Ivan, and I'm sure they could get that done. Or you could super chat. But shout out to Brizology and Abit Hex. We also have in the chat, we got RH Max. Murder those likes buttons. Yes, murder those like buttons. Thank you for tuning in, RH Max. You should be, everyone here watching should be subscribing to RH Max and Abit Hex and Brizology. If he has a YouTube, I don't know if he does. But shout out to our celebs. And just a reminder, you too could be a celeb. Just go out there and start creating content, and you'll also get the camera panned on you during live streams. Could I plug my Instagram and your Instagram? Because I just made a post on Instagram that was awkward as hell. Because I'm a little awkward. Wait, where is it?
Got a tab for it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so guys, go follow me on Instagram. I have 23 followers.
every you're the little train that could, man. You can do it.
No, the problem is with Instagram is that Instagram is like you're supposed to be traveling the world, and you're supposed to show like how cool it is hanging out with like all your friends and stuff. But guess what? I'm a wrecked pleb. I don't travel anywhere. I don't get to go to Thailand like Funding Jim. So it's hard for me to like make good Instagram content. I'm just some boring wrecked pleb loser who lives in his mom's basement. But what's your Insta? You might want to check out Funding Jim's Insta.
I'm the same spelling everywhere. Don't change your spelling. Don't make a period.
I used to think it was Funding Jim, like the name Jim.
GYM. There, I'm seeing there's an imposter with two eyes. See the imposter? The second one?
Yeah, see, this is a real Instagram. This is a man who's actually doing something. Oh, wow. So got you with Jay Waller. You are somebody that should be having an Instagram. So yeah, go follow Funding Jim. I'm sure the ladies love the 16,500 followers on the Insta.
Yeah, it works out.
Yeah. I guess my question to you is, I had a question, and then if you have time, I have till 2. I don't know if you're squeezed for time. Maybe we could go over a little bit of the news, because there is a lot of news. But the question is, so I know I was just agreeing with everything you said. I had a recent fallout with Simon Dixon. I don't know if you saw the clip.
I see how you address his handle.
No, so here's the problem with Simon, and I love Simon. You could unblock me. You're not such a bad guy. But the problem with Simon is is just kind of somebody who doesn't get it. And is there a point where it's like, okay, and let me just give you background. Like, first of all, Simon is invested in Bitfinex and Tether, which there's a lot of fishy things behind that. To be fair, though, Tether is actually looking like the Chad throughout this USDC thing. But obviously, they've gotten penalties from the New York AG. They've been caught. First of all, they never had an audit. They said they were going to have one like 5 years ago. They never did that. And then when they did that to Station, they were moving the funds from Bitfinex to make it look like they were back 1-to-1. So it's definitely not something that somebody of integrity, you know, somebody, a serious person that, you know, talks about investing capital. Like, that's not something that it's not that they would not want to affiliate with something like Tether, like, to say the least. But it's not just that, it's that, like, he was behind the Celsius thing, and he was promoting Celsius on his Bank to the Future, and then when Celsius went down, you know, he brings everyone to Salt Lending, which also went down. So he's getting everyone wrecked, and now he's trying to find another, you know, lending platform, and he's just somebody that doesn't get it. He's basically trying to wrap everything in cryptocurrency, like everything that's, you know, everything in traditional finance and fintech. He's basically trying to, you know, wrap cryptocurrency in that. You know, he's trying to basically do the same old with the new, when that's not how it's supposed to be used, and it's obviously proved not, you know, an efficient use, you know, of the technology, and it's proved to really hurt a lot of people. And Simon, and instead of, like, if Simon was really serious about solving the problem of DeFi, of borrowing against their Bitcoin, he would, you know, teach his followers about DeFi and things like that. But no, he messed up twice, and he's still trying to do it. And then he calls HEX a scam. And it's like, is there ever a point where it's like, enough's enough? You're getting your followers fucked, like, seriously, like, losing all their money. And it's really frustrating, because he has this tone, like, I have the moral high ground, like, oh, how dare you insult me? You know, like holier than thou, when he's been wrong time and time again. And obviously Richard Hart's been right time and time again. He's been doing the right thing. He's been getting his followers saved from these things. So is there, like, a line that people just, there has to be a line that people don't cross, and it's just like, enough's enough, cut the shit out. Does that make sense? And I felt like that was appropriate for Simon Dixon in that point.
Yeah, I mean, I can see all those points, because I've engaged them in them as well, and said, wow, you know, I don't have much audience or reach, and nobody knows me yet, but this guy is known. And because this guy is known and his messaging is getting in front of audience, let me highlight how wrong he is, right? That's been Simon for a long time, for 12 years. So in 12 years of impact and influence in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, his origin story, I think he started with banking. I think he used to be a desk trader in the UK. And like I said, his mind's frame about opportunity as an entrepreneur, startup, investor, you know, seeing that he could ROI on influence, whatever you want to call Simon's role 12 years ago. That seems to have worked for him, because he is the first published book about Bitcoin. It's a 12-year-old book. His book called Bank to the Future, I think they had to retitle it. And I think that he can't use the word bank, because that's a protected word in language. As far as government protected. And he has successfully navigated those regulatory and influence hurdles to garner on Twitter 116,000 followers, I think, somewhere around there, and to be invited onto platforms speaking to thousands or tens of thousands of people at a time, especially at Bitcoin conferences and so forth, right? So I can say that message is wrong. That investor is leading people to slaughter. All of the impact and influence that he had got people in Kraken, which he's an equity holder, right? He's one of the startup founding members of Kraken. Same thing with, like you said, Bitfinex, or, you know, well over 100 companies, right? So he says it on his Twitter, well over 100 companies that he has VC'd. And even recently with threads with me have been him highlighting that, you know, HEX.
Oh, no.
His position is he can take a loan against Bitcoin, and he can use Bitcoin as collateral to get cash. And what does he do with the cash? He buys equity in startups, usually related to either the crypto industry or being a middleman, making a platform as a middleman, such as Celsius, BlockFi, all these other things, right? And that's his only way to generate yield on top of Bitcoin without selling Bitcoin. He says that he doesn't ever sell Bitcoin, but he accesses collateral to get cash to be a VC in companies that have counterparty risk and relieve people of their keys when they're playing the crypto game, right? So I understand what you're saying. I totally do. And I would say that the better way to win impact and influence in this crypto space is not to give attention and gravitas to the messaging of people that don't fit your narrative of what you think crypto should be. The better thing to do, in my view, is to become better as an individual or as a movement or as a culture on messaging and reach the audience that they have not, right? Simon has 116,000. At the same time, again, coincidentally, I was talking about somebody else that had 200,000. Simon was around 100,000 4 years ago when Richard first streamed with Simon about HEX, right? There's a stream with Simon and Richard together. And I think at the time, Richard was around 60,000 and now he's 300. And that is a testimony to better marketing. That is a testimony to a culture that promotes the properties that HEX represents, right? So a better capitalist is someone that says, I see that Xerox and Ford have a product and they have an influential leader of their product or their service. And I'm going to outcompete them because I'm going to deliver a better product or a better service or better messaging that gives people convenience to reach the thing that they actually want. So people want ROI, people want financial sovereignty, people want financial control, right? People don't want to be impacted by bank collapse or Federal Reserve policy. That's what they don't want. Most don't know it, but that's what they don't want. And to, like it is the dance I have to play, and everybody I think should play. Like I have Simon on my stream because they're talking today, right? And there's 12 people talking finance and stock and crypto, and part of the commentary that Simon gave today, this morning, was about the Bitcoin standard, and that his investment thesis is that he takes a loan against his Bitcoin so that he can get capital, so he can promote the platforms that allow for decentralization, decentralization through a central exchange, but decentralization in his narrative, right? And I can press him publicly, but that doesn't help get to his audience. Like, I need to be better in my kung fu. Right?
Yeah, it just really bothers me though, because like after he messed up so many times, like he's saying no to like the way to earn yield. Like it's like finally like we have a proven way to earn yield without like screwing up and losing your keys and things like that. And he's just like completely
But he doesn't promote. He
throws it under the rug.
He promotes the ticker, and he promotes the properties about Bitcoin, but he does not promote sovereign control, self-custody, don't trade. He doesn't promote those things because those aren't profitable for him stacking his own narrative. Regulatory controls, peer-to-peer. Rand commented about it this morning, the same thing. He says, do you actually see a world in the future where one is you have a completely permissioned financial life, meaning CBDCs, government knows everything that you do. Every transaction has a timestamp and a who you interacted with network, like Prism or whatever this Edward Snowden kind of content. They can just do a sleuthing, right? Mm-hmm. Do you believe in that future? Or do you believe in all of your financial energy can transact with anybody at any time, anywhere, over any topic or, purpose of payment? Well, I don't believe in either. I don't believe that we're going to 1984. There's no escape. All of humanity falls into the same trap and is beholden to only oligarchs. I don't believe in that. I'm not that conspirative. I believe that there will still be resistance. And when resistance happens, it ends up with blood and treasure in the streets, blood and treasure lost. And then there's revolution, and revolutions have happened as long as there's been humans. So I don't think that it's going to be any different in the future, that when things are bad enough and people are actually hungry, right? And then just revolution happens. That's what happens all the time. So I don't believe in that dystopia, but I also don't believe in this quote unquote utopia that you have any ability to pay for, crimes against others and remove rights such as life, liberty, or freedoms from slavery because you can pay for it. Like I don't think that world should exist either. So I'm in the middle. And similarly, on these guys' messaging, they're walking that regulatory compliance. 3 main banks that deal with cryptocurrency, 2 of which have gone down, in the past, 72 hours, right? So you have to respect. I still have to respect that Simon's been in this fight a lot longer than you and a lot longer than me on the concept of cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. Execution may not be perfect, right? He's actually been in the fight publicly longer than Richard.
Yeah.
Richard is OG, but Richard is only known 6 years.
Yeah. But he didn't keep up. That's the thing. Like, and he came from CeFi, and like now we're at the point where he's doing a lot more harm than good. Yeah. But at the same time, he is open to streaming with Richard, which is very advantageous. So maybe I shouldn't have done that, but it was just a little frustrating. But let's move on. And all great points.
Look at your impact. Look at your impact as far as your influence on other people that create TikToks and shorts and have a new generation that relate better to you than relate to Simon. They relate better to you. You represent a different population than he represents. You represent a different perspective. Even though he talks about digital currencies and the future of finance and all these other things, you're probably more schooled and knowledgeable about NFTs and how people are trading in the streets, or the movement about like, do you really want control, or do you just want the number to go up? Like, what do you really want out of your crypto?
Yeah, and I strive to be like you in the sense that I hope when I'm your age, I'll be able to keep up. But the reason why I could keep up so well is because I'm hungry, but obviously Simon was probably at some point like me, and he was with the times and he was ahead of it, and he was able to get in on Bitcoin, but it's got to the point where he didn't keep up. He got comfortable, and you can't teach an old dog new tricks. That's what I say about Simon. But I hope my goal is I do have
no Kraken. Do you wish that there was no Kraken?
No, we need centralized exchanges, but I don't.
So next time you make a post, thank Simon for being a VC.
I'm blocked. I can't. I'm blocked. No. I strive to be like you in the sense that I really hope when I'm older, I could still keep up. It's very rare though. But listen, I can't blame him. I hope he unblocks me. I'm not going to be so mean. And I hope that you could do a stream with him. I'm sure he'll love you. First of all, guys, get into TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Telegram. Start posting TikToks or supporting those posting TikToks and YouTube Shorts today. Just a reminder. Also, give a shout out to my friend Ben Dubard. Thank you very much for tuning in, and share the stream. Everyone, smash the like button. Go subscribe to Ben Dubard's channel. Go follow at Funding Jim on Twitter if you're living under a rock and you haven't already.
Great. Ben's been popping around in a lot of the spaces. I saw him on last night, 2 different streams as well, like as an audience person. So all of that's helpful.
Oh yeah, he's incredible, and he was the first. Me and him really came in it together. So we have me and Ben. We have a special bond. So shout out to Ben, and let me because I have 15 more minutes, and we can't have Funding Jim on the show and not bring up the Richard Hart tweet. The Richard Hart tweet, major update. He says Pulsechain.com and PulseX.com news.com news. The EBS volumes are warming up. The Block Explorer is 95% done syncing, though it's been sitting at 95% for a good while, and PulseX is deployed. AMM ratio repair hasn't been run yet. Can't wait till it's public. So first of all, what's your immediate reaction to the update?
Well, I mean, the price is reflecting on HEX. This tweet timing, it's about a penny movement up because of maybe the tweet. Maybe just synchronous, coincidental. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then as far as like he's giving more detail than he has in 8 months. All right. The past week has been a lot more detail. And so, and they also have like, they're not talking block height and here's the launch time for the test net, but he sure uses a lot of references to length of time. Like even in that one, he says long while, for a good long while, has been running. I can't wait. Wait is another time reference. Like he has time references that he would have avoided in the past. Final test net. I saw this other thing. To be clear, talking about final test net before main net. Yeah, and it's just positive, just in positive. I think that if you're going to speculate on price, the when you get an alert from the Twitter account for Richard, maybe that's not going to be as much of an impact on price as when you get an alert from his YouTube channel. When you get an alert from his YouTube channel, he hasn't streamed from the castle in like a year, right? But when you see something coming from that studio, I bet price moves. I bet.
Well, it's already moved, and yeah, I would agree. It would move a lot more. And shout out to the Pulse Tube. Great work, and thank you for listening. Shout out Pulse Tube. We love the Pulse Tube. Go to thepulsetube.com. So now, interesting. So we had following that. Well, first of all, my follow-up question was, you did express, a little frustration that, there wasn't enough updates and things like that. And then really shortly thereafter, Richard Hart started really coming at it with those regular updates. So are you satisfied with the updates? Has it been up to your standard? And do you think it was listening to you?
If you look at his tweets before the updates, really about the things that people care to see tweets from Richard, you saw that his engagement was falling off significantly after like the first 5 or 6 months of outrage marketing and shopaholic while waiting for developers to create this thing. You started to see that when he would make a post, it would take longer to get to the same thresholds of likes, retweets, comments, things like that, right? And you saw him experiment also for about a month where he would make a tweet, but nobody except for people he was following could retweet or make comment, right? So he was limiting even his engagement then. Then you saw that, this pivot or rotation, to no longer be stale product, toward here's my origin story. You can't separate me from my culture. Like, it is my culture, right? Here is my, the truth of when he went on Fresh and Fit and things like that, where people were saying, that he was, what do they call that phrase? Mimicking or something like that. I forgot what the phrase was on his language, right?
Oh yeah.
But that's his origin. Like that's part of his origin culture. So like, it's really good. It's great marketing. I see it in the trending. I see it where people can't ignore it that have, nothing else to talk about in a bear market. What else can they talk about but HEX, Pulsechain, PulseX? Now they can talk about, even Richard gave props to Bitcoin getting a 20-something% rise today, or whatever it was, or the past 2 days from 20,000 to like 25,000 now. So like, I can see some good things. And then you saw the number 271 wallet for Bitcoin had staked. They staked beyond the auto stake. So they went actually 3 years out. So it wasn't just the auto stake like a lot of Bitcoiners did. They stuck for an actual 3 years. And then that ROI, knowing that it's going to be published on Hex Whale or the whale things, actually, I think it was probably a marketing reason why it sold. Like could have restaked and maybe there had been a positive narrative around that, but like proof that it could be capital that was basically free. Richard has in the past, privately at least, said how frustrated and annoyed and angry he was that Bitcoin people didn't praise 2 years or 3 years into HEX's performance, the free money that they got, right? None of the OG. And again, I love HEX and hexagons, but I still don't think that in 2019 we represented 3% of all Bitcoin. I don't think that the people that actually bought into this new launch product, and even if they didn't buy, even if they just basically free claimed, I don't think that our community in 2019 represented 3% of all Bitcoin. That's just opinion. So
Okay.
we would like to have gotten more praise. And I think that the freebie in 2019 was Bitcoiners. The freebie in 2023 is Ethereans. And the freebie in the future will be a new community, which is, who do you want to get the economic attention from? Hexagons. Like Bitcoin first, Ethereum is the giveaway of 2023 with the fork and the duplication of your tokens and NFTs and contracts. But like I can see in 2025, 26, the economic energy you want the attention from is hexagons.
Yeah, I could see. I don't know if there's going to be another freebie because I think Hex will be number one very soon. So we won't have. They'll have to come to us. We won't have to come to them. But we'll see. It could be there will be another freebie. So then I got to get this out of you because it's going to really help promote your channel and my channel. Because whenever I say funding Jim gives a launch time frame, it gets like several thousand views. 7
minutes ago, did you already trade?
What's that?
It launched 7 minutes ago. Did you already trade?
No, because so Havid said it's dropping any minute, and then Richard checked her and said, "Chill. If it was any minute, I'd say any minute." So that's not nothing against Havid, but that does tell us that it's probably a few days away at least. So I guess what's your time frame? What's your time frame, and maybe give us the mainnet time frame?
I heard recently that someone speculated outside of our culture and community, Ethereum at 2,000 would be a nice triggering point. I don't know if price on other things makes any impact at all on V3 testnet timing. I don't think there's timing really there. I think when it's available to be played with, it'll be played with. So what is your question? Is it mainnet distance between a...
No, when's V3 and when's mainnet?
I mean, again, my opinion is I'm not in the developer. The person that asks better and sensitively would be Gamma DevOps, because he is in the know as far as the code release. But outside of Gamma DevOps, everybody else is guessing, including me. I would say I still think less than a week as far as the testnet, maybe less than 4 days. Maybe I would be on this side of middle, or maybe just a little bit over middle. So like 4 days to 7 days sounds good to me from the narrative of 95% complete on the block scan, code positions that he said as far as synchronization. He made a comment recently, I think, about like the fixer bot, running the fixer bot. Those are all things that we're holding our breath over to say when, right? So I think he wouldn't be salting very far in advance and say it's a month from now. In reality, I think his caution is reasoned, and 4 to 7 days sounds really good. Mm-hmm. I would say that as far as test. I would say that there's probably going to be price performance, price speculation, people trying to front run for testnet, even though there's no real impact on, a fork, free coins narrative or anything like that when it comes to a testnet. And then once testnet is out, the questions I have about when mainnet will all come down to how popular is Richard making it for people to become a validator, get their hardware launched, work with Gamma DevOps or other people that are good references about the process of being a validator. Like I want to see that hardware decentralization narrative promoted by Richard before I'm going to even guess on mainnet launch. Like that's the purpose of testnet, is not just so we can play around with coins and see if there's ROI in protocol. The purpose of testnet is also hardware, validator, simplicity, off the shelf, let it run without having fear of slashing or fear of internet went down or any of those things. He needs to quell those still from his throne. Like if he's not doing it from his throne commentary, then I don't think that mainnet is that close.
Okay. And AZ Tro 369 getting Furu's got 75% of current live viewers is HEX. So, oh, thanks, man. Thanks for telling me. And I guess it's good I need to go. And everybody, the 147 watching, I'm sure you're going over to the Hexologist and watching him live after this show. And I'm sure you're liking his videos and subscribing because he's an absolute legend. And obviously, I don't want to be streaming over him for too much longer. And I got another 3 minutes. But before I go, I couldn't leave you without asking you. So right now, the HEX price is, wow, incredible.
Looking pretty.
Okay, so this was when we were down here, and testnet V3 seemed like it was around the corner. I said, this is my testnet V3 price target. And this is my mainnet price target. And we haven't even gotten to testnet V3. And we're way above the mainnet price target. So this is my
look at that volume too. It's nice volume. If you look at the desert of volume in between the start of the climb, wasn't much volume, but now it's got pretty good volume on these holding these positions.
Yeah, there you go. So, well, quickly, if I could get out of you, what is your testnet V3 and mainnet price prediction?
Testnet, if the AMM has run, if the fixer bot has run, and people see that in their engagement, I could see 15 cents on testnet during testnet. Maybe it'll walk around, 15 plus or minus 5, like, between 10 to 20, but mostly around 15. That's my guess.
Okay.
During the experience of testnet. And then when there's a block height or any kind of notice or anything like that, I could imagine it at 30 cents. I could see it another, 1/3 higher than testnet, just because people will try to game it and get 1 day worth of, I bought it just to sell it the next day and try to, rush to the gate to sell. I could see a lot of participants that have been, on the sideline, haters, not liking it, telling their hidden signal group about, like, let's just fuck up the HEX people by buying and then selling. Like, I could see that, right, narrative. But they're losing a lot of their impact, the haters. They're losing impact, So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I could see it going up to 30, for main. It's during main, maybe coming back down to the 22, 23-ish, something like that on a big sell. People that just sell for the day and just want to sit on top of the coin and see what happens from our work on Pulsechain over the coming 2 years. So, like, I can see it. Yeah, that seems speculatively where I would imagine.
All right, so we could see 40 by main. Okay. You heard it here first. And obviously, I hope I could get you on for a full show. It's always a pleasure having you on, and you're always welcome on the show, which I'm sure you know. I think you're more than welcome. I think we always want you on the show. That would be the better way to put it. You bring great viewership, great content, great everything. And I'm sure everyone's following you on Twitter and subscribe to your channel. But if not, they should do that right now. And everybody go over to the Hexologist show if you haven't already, and obviously like and subscribe to his channel if you are not living under a rock. Any closing thoughts real quick?
Follow my Twitter. Don't be a horrible troll. Be a reasonable troll. For some of these guys, I'm trying to get influence and impact because I'm looking beyond them. I'm looking at their audience. And it's better that they retweet. People are probably going to retweet things that are pseudo-positive that they've said, right? That they want to be accountable for. So, I'm investing, life basically into actively managing the live streams, and you can benefit from it by building your brand and your clip and things like that of that on their tag. But like, if you frame it in a way that Richard was right, you're an asshole, see what you said was wrong kind of stuff, they're going to block you. And they might even block other people that are diplomatic, that still represent the same thing you care about. Like, you care about price, you care about narrative. And I care that, more people learn about a thing than currently know about a thing. So
yeah, that reminds me of the Herb Brooks line when he put on that jersey. Just remember that the letters on the front are a hell of a lot more important than the letters on the back. You represent something a lot greater than yourself, so be cognizant. Don't make it difficult for Funding Jim to get Simon Dixon on the stream. Sorry about that. We will do better, and obviously we thank you very much for having on. Everyone, please like, subscribe, get in the Patreon, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Have a great rest of your day.